Marcus Chen sat in his big office chair, staring at the fancy invitation on his desk. The paper was thick and expensive, with gold letters that seemed to shine under the office lights. He read it again, even though he had already read it 10 times before. Victoria Blackwood cordially invites you to the annual charity gala. His hands squeezed into fists when he saw her name. The gala was only 3 days away. 3 days, and he still had no idea what he was going to do. Marcus was the CEO of a successful tech company. He was smart, rich, and usually very good at solving problems. But this problem was different. This problem was about his heart. Hearts were much harder to fix than computer codes. Victoria had been his girlfriend for 2 years. No, more than that, she had been his fiancée. They were supposed to get married next month, but 3 months ago, everything fell apart. Victoria said he worked too much. She said he loved his company more than he loved her. Maybe she was right. But it still hurt when she threw her engagement ring at him and walked out of his life. Now Victoria was engaged to someone else. Richard Pemberton, a man whose family owned hotels all over the world. Marcus had seen their engagement photos in the newspaper. Victoria looked so happy, smiling in her perfect white dress, while Richard held her close. The newspapers called them the perfect couple. It made Marcus feel sick. The worst part was that Marcus had already said yes to the gala invitation. He had said yes back when he and Victoria were still together, when she was still planning to be his wife. Now he was trapped. If he didn't go, everyone would think he was too hurt to face his ex-girlfriend. If he went alone, everyone would feel sorry for him. He could already imagine people whispering behind his back. Poor Marcus, he's still not. Over Victoria, Marcus stood up and walked to the big window in his office. He could see the whole city from up here. All those people down there, living their lives, probably dealing with their own problems. But right now, Marcus felt like his problem was the biggest one in the world. His assistant, David, knocked on the door. "Come in," Marcus called out, not turning away from the window. "Sir, I brought your afternoon coffee," David said, setting the cup on Marcus's desk. "Also, I need to confirm something. The charity gala is this Friday. Should I tell them you're coming alone?" Marcus felt his face get hot with embarrassment. Even David knew about his situation. Everyone in the office probably knew that Marcus Chen, the successful CEO, had been dumped by his fiancée for another man. "I'm not going alone," Marcus said quickly. I'm bringing a date." David looked surprised. "Oh, should I ask who the date is? For the guest list?" Marcus turned around to face his assistant. I'll let you know later." After David left, Marcus sat back down in his chair. He had just lied to his own assistant. He didn't have a date. He didn't even have any close female friends he could ask. Most of the women he knew were either married, or they worked for him, or they were friends with Victoria. He couldn't ask any of them. Marcus spent the rest of the day trying to work, but he couldn't focus. Every few minutes he would think about the gala. He imagined walking into that fancy ballroom alone, while Victoria danced with her new fiancé. He imagined all the important people there, all the business partners and clients, watching him and judging him. That evening, Marcus decided to go to his favorite coffee shop. It was a small place called Daily Grind, not too far from his office. He had been going there every morning for almost 2 years. The coffee was good, and it was usually quiet. Maybe sitting there would help him think of a solution to his problem. The coffee shop was busier than usual. There was a long line of people waiting to order. Marcus joined the line and looked around. Most of the customers were young people with laptops, probably students or freelancers. Some were in business suits like him, getting their evening coffee fix. Marcus watched the barista behind the counter. She was a young woman with dark brown hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. He had seen her before during his morning visits. She always seemed calm and professional, even when the shop was busy. What was her name? He looked at her name tag. Emma. As Marcus watched, a man in an expensive suit approach the counter. The man looked angry about something. "This coffee is terrible," he shouted at Emma. "I asked for a caramel macchiato, and this tastes like regular coffee." Marcus expected Emma to get upset or defensive. Most people would. But instead, She smiled politely and said, "I'm so sorry about that, sir. Let me make you a fresh one right away. And please, let me give you a pastry for free because of the mistake." The angry man looked surprised. He seemed to calm down a little. "Well, okay, but make sure you get it right this time."
Of course, sir.
"I'll make it myself and taste it before I give it to you," Emma said, still smiling. Marcus was impressed. Emma had handled that difficult customer with more grace than most people he knew, including some of his own employees. And those other people had college degrees and years of training in customer service. When it was Marcus's turn to order, he stepped up to the counter. Emma looked at him and smiled. "Good evening. What can I get for you? Just a regular coffee, Black Marcus?" Said then he made a decision that would change everything. "Actually, wait, can I ask you something?" Emma looked curious.
Sure, what is it?
Marcus felt nervous, which was strange for him. He was used to making big business deals and giving presentations to hundreds of people. But asking this young woman for help felt scary. "This might sound crazy," Marcus began, "but I need a favor, a big favor, and I'm willing to pay for it." Emma's smile faded a little. She probably thought he was some kind of weirdo. "What kind of favor?" "I need a date for a charity gala this Friday night. It's a formal event, very fancy. I'll pay you $5,000 for the evening, plus I'll cover all the costs. Dress, shoes, hair, makeup, everything you need." Emma stared at him for a long moment. Marcus could see other customers in line behind him getting impatient, but he didn't move. This was his chance. "Why me?" Emma asked finally. "You don't even know me." What? Marcus realized she was right. He didn't know anything about her except that she made good coffee and handled difficult customers well. But somehow, that felt like enough. Because Marcus said, "I just watched you deal with that angry customer. And you were kind and professional even when he was being rude to you. Most people I know who grew up with money can't do that. They either get angry back or they act fake. But you were real. You were genuine." Emma looked down at the counter, thinking. Marcus held his breath, waiting for her answer. She said slowly, "It's important to you." "Very important," Marcus admitted. "My ex-fiancée is hosting it. She's engaged to someone else now, and I just can't show up alone. I know it sounds pathetic, but I need to prove that I've moved on too." Emma looked up at him again. There was something in her eyes, maybe understanding, maybe sympathy. $5,000? Yes, plus all expenses. I promise, this is completely legitimate. It's dancing, some conversation with boring rich people. Nothing weird or inappropriate. Emma was quiet for another moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, I'll do it." Marcus felt a huge wave of relief wash over him. "Really? Thank you so much. Here's my card. Can you call me tomorrow so we can arrange everything?" Emma took his business card and looked at it. Eyes widened. When she saw his name and company, "You're Marcus Chen, the CEO of TechFlow Solutions." "Yes," Marcus said, suddenly feeling embarrassed. "Does that change anything?" Emma shook her head. "No, it just ... explains the $5,000. They both laughed, and Marcus felt some of his nervousness go away. Maybe this crazy plan would actually work. As Marcus walked back to his car, he felt hopeful for the first time in weeks. He had a date for the gala. Emma seemed nice and smart, and she had agreed to help him. Now he just had to hope that she could handle being around Victoria and all the other wealthy, powerful people. Who would be at the event? Marcus didn't know it yet, but Emma was about to surprise everyone, including him. Emma woke up the next morning and wondered if she had dreamed the whole thing. Had a rich CEO really asked her to be his fake date? Had she really said yes to going to a fancy gala with people she had only seen in magazines? Looked at the business card on her nightstand. Marcus Chen, CEO, TechFlow Solutions. It was real. She picked up her phone and called the number on the card. "Hello, this is Marcus." His voice sounded different on the phone, more nervous than confident. "Hi." "It's Emma, from the coffee shop," she said, feeling just as nervous as he sounded. "Emma, thank you so much for calling. I was worried you might change your mind." "I almost did," Emma admitted. "This is pretty crazy, you know." Marcus laughed. "I know. But I'm really grateful you're helping me, so we need to get you ready for Friday night. I've arranged for a stylist to come to your apartment today at 2 o'clock. Her name is Claire, and she's the best in the city. Emma looked around her small apartment. It had one bedroom, a tiny kitchen, and a living room that was barely big. Enough for her old couch and TV? A stylist is coming here? To my place? Is that okay? I can arrange to meet somewhere else if you prefer. No, it's fine. It's just my apartment isn't very fancy. Emma, you don't need to worry about any of that. Claire's worked with everyone from movie stars to politicians. She's very professional. After they hung up, Emma spent the morning cleaning her apartment. She wasn't sure why the stylist was coming to help her, not judge her living situation. But she felt nervous about someone from Marcus's world seeing how she really lived. At exactly 2 o'clock, there was a knock on Emma's door. She opened it to find a tall, elegant woman with perfectly styled blonde hair and sharp blue eyes. The woman was carrying several large bags and had a confident smile. You must be Emma, the woman said. I'm Claire. Marcus sent me to help you get ready. For Friday night? Claire walked into Emma's apartment and immediately started unpacking her bags. Emma watched in amazement as Claire pulled out makeup cases, hair tools, and jewelry boxes. So, Claire said, looking Emma up and down like she was studying a painting, Marcus told me this is for the Blackwood Charity Gala. It's a very fancy event. Lots of important people. We need to make sure you look absolutely perfect. Emma felt her stomach flip. What if I don't fit in? What if everyone can tell I don't belong? There. Claire stopped unpacking and looked at Emma with kind eyes. Annie, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've worked with women who were born into money and women who earned it themselves. The secret isn't about where you come from. It's about confidence. And you, my dear, have good bones and beautiful eyes. We just need to bring out what's already there. Claire started by looking through Emma's closet. She shook her head at most of the clothes. No, definitely no, she said, pushing hangers aside. Marcus said he was going to buy you a dress, but let me see what we're working with. For undergarments and shoes. Emma felt embarrassed. Her clothes were all from discount stores and thrift shops. Nothing fancy or expensive. But Claire didn't seem to judge her. She just made notes on a small pad of paper. Okay, here's what we're going to do, Claire said. I'm going to take your measurements, and then I'm going shopping. I'll be back in 3 hours with everything you need. Dress, shoes, jewelry, the works. How much is all this going to cost? Emma asked, worried. Don't worry about money. Marcus is paying for everything. He told me to get you the best of everything. Claire pulled out a measuring tape. Now let's see what size you are. After Claire took her measurements, she packed up her things and left. Emma was alone again, but the apartment felt different somehow. It felt like something big was about to happen. 3 hours later, Claire returned with even more bags than before. Emma's eyes widened as Claire started pulling out the most beautiful clothes she had ever seen. This is your dress, Claire said, holding up a long, emerald green gown. The fabric looked like it was made of liquid silk, and it shimmered when Claire moved it. It's going to be perfect with your skin tone and eye color. Emma touched the dress gently. It's beautiful. But what if I spill something on it? What if I trip and tear it? You won't, Claire said confidently. We're going to practice walking in the shoes I bought you. And I'm going to teach you a few tricks about eating and drinking at fancy events. Claire also showed Emma the jewelry, a simple but elegant necklace with matching earrings, and a bracelet that sparkled with what looked like real diamonds. Are these real? Emma asked, holding up the bracelet. Oh, yes, Claire said casually. Marcus wanted you to have the best. He said this event was very important to him. Next came the shoes, beautiful high heels that matched the dress perfectly. Emma tried them on and immediately wobbled. Can't walk in these, she said, grabbing onto the wall for support. Yes, you can, Claire said patiently. It just takes practice. Walk across the room slowly. Think about putting one foot directly in front of the other, like you're walking on a straight line. For the next hour, Claire made Emma practice walking. In the heels. At first, Emma felt like a baby learning to walk, but gradually, she got more comfortable. Claire taught her how to sit gracefully in a long dress, how to get in and out of a car without showing too much leg, and how to hold a wine glass properly. Now, Claire said, let's work on your hair and makeup. Claire spent 2 hours transforming Emma's appearance. She curled Emma's hair into loose, elegant waves and pinned half of it up in a style that looked effortless but sophisticated. The makeup was subtle, but dramatic. Emma's eyes looked bigger and more mysterious, and her lips were a perfect shade of red that matched the undertones in her dress. When Claire finally turned Emma toward the mirror, Emma gasped. Herself, the woman looking back at her, looked like she belonged in a magazine or on a movie screen. "Oh my God," Emma whispered. "Is that really me?" "That's you," Claire said with satisfaction. "But remember, Emma, the dress and makeup are just the outside. What's going to make you shine at this gala is who you are on the inside. Your kindness, your intelligence, your genuine spirit, those are things that can't be bought or faked." Emma nodded, but she still felt nervous. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't know how to talk to these people? "Just be yourself," Claire advised. "Ask people about themselves. Most people love talking about their work or their interests. Remember, you're there to support Marcus. He chose you for a reason." After Claire left, Emma sat in her apartment wearing her old clothes again, but she felt different. She kept looking at the beautiful dress hanging in her closet and the jewelry box sitting on her dresser. Tomorrow night, she would be attending one of the most exclusive events in the city. Emma thought about Marcus and why he had chosen her. Could have hired a professional escort or asked one of his business associates to set him up with someone from their social circle. But instead, he had asked her a barista who served him coffee every morning. She remembered what he had said about watching her handle the angry customer. He had seen something in her that she didn't even know was there. Maybe Claire was right. Maybe the most important thing she could bring to this gala wasn't an expensive dress or perfect makeup. Maybe it was just being herself. Emma's phone buzzed with a text message from Marcus. "Claire said everything went great today. I can't wait to see you tomorrow night. Thank you again for doing this." Emma smiled as she typed back. "Thank you for trusting me with something so important to you. I won't let you down." As she got ready for bed, Emma felt a mix of excitement and terror. Tomorrow night, she would enter a world she had only dreamed about. She would meet people who could buy and sell her entire life without thinking twice about it. But for one night, she would be one of them. Emma just hoped she was ready for whatever came next. Friday evening came too quickly. Emma stood in front of her bathroom mirror, taking deep breaths. The emerald green dress fit her perfectly, and Claire's makeup work made her look like a different person. But inside, she still felt like the same. Nervous barista who served coffee for a living, her phone rang. It was Marcus. "I'm downstairs." His voice sounded nervous, too. "Are you ready?" "As ready as I'll ever be," Emma said. Grabbing the small purse Claire had given her, Emma walked downstairs and saw Marcus waiting by a sleek black car. When he saw her, his mouth dropped open. He stood there for several seconds, just staring. He said finally, "You look ... incredible." Emma felt her cheeks get warm. Marcus cleaned up pretty well himself. His black tuxedo fit him perfectly, and his hair was styled just right. He looked like the successful businessman he was, but there was something softer in his eyes tonight. "Thank you," Emma said. "You look very handsome, too." Marcus opened the car door for her, and Emma carefully got in, remembering Claire's lessons about sitting gracefully in a long dress. As they drove through the city, Marcus seemed more nervous than she had ever seen him. "Are you okay?" Emma asked. "I should be asking you that," Marcus said. "I'm dragging you into a world you don't know, around people who can be ... difficult." "Tell me about Victoria," Emma said. "What should I expect?" Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Victoria's beautiful and smart, but she can also be cruel when she wants to be. She'll probably try to make you feel small or out of place. Don't let her." "About her new fiancé, Richard Pemberton? His family owns hotels. He's not a bad guy, but he's not very interesting either. Victoria probably chose him because he has more money than I do." Emma could hear the hurt in Marcus's voice. "Are you still in love with her?" Marcus looked at Emma, surprised by the direct question. "I thought I was. But lately I've been wondering if I was just in love with the idea of her. The perfect girlfriend, the perfect life. Maybe we were never really right for each other." They arrived at the Grand Metropolitan Hotel, and Emma's breath caught in her throat. The building was massive and covered in lights. There were photographers outside, taking pictures of all the guests as they arrived. Expensive cars were lined up, dropping off people in beautiful clothes. "Oh my God," Emma whispered. "There are photographers." "Just smile and walk with confidence," Marcus said, getting out of the car. "You belong here tonight." Marcus walked around and opened Emma's door. As she stepped out, camera flashes started going off immediately. Emma felt overwhelmed by all the lights and noise, but she remembered Claire's advice. She lifted her chin, smiled, and walked toward the hotel entrance like she owned the place. Inside the hotel, the ballroom was even more amazing than Emma had imagined. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and everything seemed to sparkle. There were hundreds of people dressed in expensive clothes, holding wine glasses and talking in small groups. "Marcus," a woman's voice called out from across the room. Emma turned to see a stunning blonde woman in a white dress walking toward them. This had to be Victoria. She was even more beautiful in person than in the newspaper photos. Her dress probably cost more than Emma made in 6 months, and she wore it like she was born to wear expensive things. "Victoria," Marcus said politely, "thank you for hosting such a beautiful event." Victoria's eyes moved to Emma, looking her up and down like she was judging a competition. "And who is this lovely lady?" "This is Emma Rodriguez," Marcus said. "This is Victoria Blackwood." Emma extended her hand with a confident smile. "It's wonderful to meet you, Victoria. Thank you for inviting us to support such an important cause." Victoria shook Emma's hand, but her smile looked fake. "Oh, nice. And what do you do, Emma?" Emma felt the trap in the question. Victoria was trying to make her feel embarrassed about her job, but Emma decided to be honest. "I work with adult literacy programs," Emma said. "I help adults learn to read and write. It's incredibly rewarding work." Victoria looked surprised. This wasn't the answer she was expecting. Before she could respond, a tall man with brown hair joined their group. "Richard," Victoria said, "this is Marcus Chen and his date, Emma." Richard Pemberton seemed genuinely friendly. "Nice to meet you both, Emma. Did you say you work with literacy programs?" "That's fantastic. Education is so important." Emma found herself liking Richard immediately. He asked thoughtful questions about her work, and he seemed really interested in her answers. As they talked, Emma noticed Victoria looking more and more annoyed. "Emma," Richard said, "you should meet some of the other people here who work in education. There's a whole group of them by the bar." As the evening went on, Emma discovered something surprising. She was actually having fun. The people at the Gala weren't all snobby rich people like she had expected. Many of them were genuinely interested in the charity and in making a difference. Emma found herself in deep conversations about education, community work, and social issues. Marcus watched in amazement as Emma charmed everyone she met. She never pretended to be someone she wasn't, but somehow she fit in perfectly. She spoke passionately about her work, listened carefully to others. It made everyone around her feel comfortable, Victoria. On the other hand, seemed to be getting more frustrated as the night went on. She had expected Marcus to bring some arm candy who would embarrass herself. Instead, Emma was the most interesting person at the party. "She's not what I expected," Richard said to Marcus when they found themselves alone at the bar. "What did you expect?" Marcus asked. Double quotes someone, ... less substantial, I guess. "Victoria said you were bringing some random girl to make her jealous, but Emma seems like the real deal." Marcus looked across the room at Emma, who was talking animatedly with a group of people about a literacy program success story. "She is the real deal." The evening took a dramatic turn when the charity coordinator stepped up to the microphone on the small stage at the front of the ballroom. "Ladies and gentlemen," the woman said, "we have a special treat for you tonight. We're going to hear from one of our most dedicated volunteers about the real impact your donations make in our community." Emma was chatting with a tech entrepreneur about educational apps when she heard her name being called. "Please join me in welcoming Emma Rodriguez, coordinator of our adult literacy program." Emma's face went completely white, the wine glass in. Her hand started to shake. She looked across the room at Marcus, who was staring at her with wide eyes. "Did she just say coordinator?" Marcus asked Richard, who was standing next to him. "I think she did," Richard replied. Looking just as confused, Emma set down her wine glass and walked slowly toward the stage. Her legs felt wobbly, and it wasn't because of the high heels. She had hoped to get through the entire evening without anyone finding out exactly who she was in the literacy world. The charity coordinator handed Emma the microphone. Emma has been working with our program for 5 years now, and under her leadership, we've helped over 3,000 adults learn to read. The room went completely quiet. Emma looked out at all the faces staring at her. She found Marcus in the crowd. He was looking at her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Surprise, admiration, maybe something else. "Thank you," Emma said, into the microphone. Her voice was shaky at first, but then it got stronger. 5 years ago, I started volunteering at the community center because I wanted to help people. Never imagined it would change my life as much as it changed theirs. Emma began telling stories about the people she had worked with. She talked about Maria, a single mother who learned to read so she could help her children with their homework. She described watching Maria cry the first time she successfully read a bedtime story to her daughter. "Then there's James," Emma continued, her voice getting more confident. "He's 65 years old and worked construction his whole life. He was embarrassed that he couldn't read, so he hid it from everyone, even his own family. When he finally came to our program, he was scared and ashamed. But now, James reads poetry. He discovered that he loves Robert Frost, and he writes his own poems too." The room was completely silent except for Emma's voice. People were wiping tears from their eyes as they listened to her stories. "The thing about literacy," Emma said, "is that it's not just about reading words on a page. It's about dignity. It's about hope. It's about giving people the tools they need to change their own lives." When Emma finished speaking, the applause was thunderous. People stood up, clapping and cheering. Emma looked out at the crowd and felt overwhelmed by their response as she walked back toward Marcus. People stopped her to shake her hand and tell her how moved they were by her speech. Victoria stood in the back of the room, her face a mask of anger and disbelief. "Why didn't you tell me?" Marcus asked when Emma finally reached him. Emma's cheeks were flushed with excitement and nervousness. "You needed a fake date, not a resume. Besides, I wanted to see if you could handle being with someone who serves coffee for a living." Marcus stared at her for a moment, then started laughing. "You were testing me?" "Maybe a little," Emma admitted. "I've seen how some rich people treat service workers. I wanted to know what kind of person you really were." "And what did you discover?" Emma smiled. "That you're the kind of person who says please and thank you like you mean it. That you notice people who others ignore. You chose me not because of what I could do for your image, but because you saw something real in how I treated that angry customer." Marcus felt something shift inside his chest. When he had first asked Emma to be his fake date, it had been about his ego and his need to prove something to Victoria. But now, standing here looking at this amazing woman who had just moved an entire room to tears, he realized something important. "Emma," he said quietly, "I need to tell you something." "What?" "This doesn't feel fake anymore." The gala was winding down, but Emma felt like the night had just begun. After her speech, people kept coming up to her, wanting to talk about the literacy program or share their own stories about education. Emma felt energized by all the conversations. But she also noticed Victoria watching her from across the room with angry eyes. "I need to use the ladies' room," Emma told Marcus. "I'll be right back." Emma made her way through the crowd toward the restrooms. The hotel bathroom was as fancy as everything else. Marble counters, gold fixtures, and soft lighting. Emma was touching up her lipstick when Victoria walked in. "Oh, well," Victoria said, her voice cold. "Quite the performance out there." Emma turned to face Victoria. Up close, she could see the anger and frustration in the other woman's perfectly made-up face. "I wasn't performing," Emma said calmly. "I was just telling the truth about my work." "Your work," Victoria laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "You serve coffee, Emma. Don't try to make yourself sound more important than you are." "I do serve coffee," Emma agreed. "I also coordinate a program that has changed thousands of lives. I can be both things." Victoria stepped closer, her voice getting meaner. "I don't know what game you're playing, but Marcus will get bored of you soon enough. You're not his type. You're not our kind of people." Emma looked at Victoria in the mirror, seeing past the perfect makeup and expensive dress to the insecurity. Underneath, you're right, Emma said. I'm not your kind of people. I'm the kind who actually cares about making a difference instead of just looking good while writing checks. Victoria's face flushed with anger. How dare you, Marcus deserves someone who sees him for who he really is, Emma continued calmly. Not just what he can provide. He deserves someone who makes him want to be a better person, not someone who makes him feel like he's never good enough. Victoria stared at Emma for a moment, then turned and walked out of the bathroom without another word. When Emma returned to the ballroom, she found Marcus waiting for her by the exit. Most of the guests had already left, and the staff was starting to clean up. Ready to go? Marcus asked. They walked to his car in comfortable silence. The night air felt cool and fresh after the warm, crowded ballroom. As they drove through the quiet city streets, Emma felt like she was coming back down to earth after flying. Emma, Marcus said finally, I owe you an apology. For what? I brought it. You to that gala tonight to make Victoria jealous. To prove that I had moved on and found someone new. It was selfish and immature. Emma nodded. I know. That's why you offered to pay me $5,000 to pretend to be your girlfriend for one night. But watching you tonight, Marcus, continued, seeing how you connected with people, how you touched everyone's hearts with your speech, I realized something important. What did you realize? Marcus pulled the car over to the side of the road and turned to look at Emma. That I've been living my life like I was afraid of it, going through the motions, focusing only on work and success, never taking real risks or letting people get close to me. And now? Now I've met someone who shows me what genuine passion looks like. Someone who cares about something bigger than herself. Someone who makes me want to be better than I am. Emma felt her heart start beating faster. Marcus, ... No, this started as a business arrangement, Marcus said. It doesn't feel like business anymore, at least not for me, Emma smiled. It stopped feeling like business for me when you asked me why I agreed to help you, and I realized it was because I could see that you were genuinely hurting. So what happens now? Marcus asked. We see if this thing between us is real, Emma said. No fake dates, no pretending to be something we're not. Just you and me, figuring out if we actually like each other when there's no ex-girlfriend to impress. Marcus laughed. I already know I like you. I like how you make me think about things differently. I like how you're not impressed by my money. Or my company. I like that you chose to help me even when you had no reason to trust me. I like you too, Emma admitted. I like that you notice people who others ignore. I like that you said please and thank you to me every morning for 2 years, even though you didn't have to. I like that you took a crazy risk asking a complete stranger to help you. 3 months later, Emma and Marcus were still together, but their relationship had grown into something neither of them had expected. Marcus had become a major supporter of Emma's literacy program, but more than that, he had started volunteering himself. Every Saturday morning he could be found at the community center, reading to children or helping adults practice their writing. Emma had helped Marcus remember why he had started his tech company in the first place, to solve problems and help people. Together, they had launched an app that helped adult literacy programs connect with volunteers and resources. Victorious engagement to Richard had ended in scandal when it came out that Richard had been stealing money from his family's hotels. But Emma and Marcus barely noticed the gossip columns. They were too busy building something real together. Do you ever regret saying yes that night in the coffee shop? Marcus asked Emma one Saturday morning as they walked to the community center together. Emma smiled and took his hand. Never. That fake date turned out to be the most real thing. That ever happened to me? Me too, Marcus said, squeezing her hand. Best $5,000 I ever spent. Actually, Emma said with a grin, you never did pay me that $5,000. Marcus stopped walking and looked at her in horror. Oh my God, you're right. Completely forgot. Emma laughed and kissed him on the cheek. I'm kidding. You gave me something much more valuable than money. What's that? You gave me the chance to discover that I'm braver than I thought I was, and you gave me you. As they walked into the community center together, ready to spend their Saturday helping others learn to read, both Emma and Marcus knew they had found something rare and precious. What had started as a desperate plan to fool an ex-girlfriend had grown into the most honest and loving relationship either of them had ever experienced. Sometimes the best things in life really do start with the most unexpected beginnings.